today on the MobiChef Mukbang podcast, we have Miss Anisa Palmer. Anisa, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
You're doing great with the smile. Outstanding. All right, so let me give y'all a little background about her and give her, give you guys her introduction. Anissa is a combat veteran, a very dynamic woman from what I've seen and read about her. She's passionate about being a health advocate. She's an influential speaker. She's the driving force behind IWillSurviveIncorporated.org. You should check those guys out and check them out over there. Not only doing that, she served her country, guys, and she served it well. She's all about leadership, wellness, when the mental and women's health capacity. She partners with the Veterans Affairs, and she also empowers individuals to dive into their inspiring journey and uncover how food has played a pivotal role in healing the community and building and personal growth. Anissa, welcome to the show and the MobiChef Mukbang podcast. It's a pleasure to have you. So I'm going to kick right into this with an icebreaker. Is that cool?
That's cool.
All right, so tell me about your guilty pleasure snack. What is your guilty pleasure snack?
Oh, it depends. If I'm driving on a long trip, I love cheese popcorn.
Cheese popcorn.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever mix it with Chicago style with the caramel, or is it just cheese?
I have not been introduced to that.
The Garrett. You ever heard of Garrett's?
I'm from the Virgin Islands, so
The VI.
guilty snack really is fresh fruit from the tree, right?
Ain't that something?
Something. And so it's like when you come to the mainland, you have other snacks. You're introduced to new things, but
Okay.
that's one I have not been introduced to
So are
yet.
you on the St. Thomas,
St. Croix.
St. Croix, St. Thomas? Okay.
Mhm.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So you seen College Hill when they had it out there in the Virgin Islands?
I was told I should watch it, but I did not.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of my favorite people out there. She got beat up on the show, but her name's Vanessa.
Oh,
I think it was
no.
Vanessa. But she was cool, real cool. I probably crushed on her a little bit at that time because it was like College Hill. Everybody, I think, watched College Hill, but then they went to the VI, like the Virgin Islands. And yeah, it was a lot of drama. It's just like any reality TV show.
Yeah.
There's always drama and different things going on. But anywho, I digress. So tell us more about your journey and what brought you here, so to speak, today. How'd you get to where you are now?
By the grace of God, really, I would say, I would wake up and not really know what I want to do with my life. I changed my major in undergrad 3 different times.
Okay.
But today,
College educated. That's what's up. Okay.
but I mean, my parents believed in education. My dad went to Morehouse, did not graduate initially the first time. My mom actually taught at Howard at one point.
DC Howard.
Yeah,
Bison.
DC Howard. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, taught there, but
HBCU.
started as a secretary.
Okay.
And so a lot of education history. And my mom was a teacher back
Okay.
home in the Caribbean, but losing her to breast cancer changed my life.
So you lost your mom, and here I am talking about your mother. Like, you killed me, you talk about my mom.
That's okay.
I did not know that.
That's okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I did no research on that. But yeah, I kill you talking about your mama. You talk about my mom, I kill you. But no. So all right. So you got into business for yourself. You did some things. When did you join the Army? When did you enlist?
I joined the military at 21 years old when you're legally allowed to drink alcohol in the United States.
Outstanding. I couldn't wait to drink alcohol.
No, here I am
at some
going off to
point.
serve the country.
Right on.
Yeah,
Ain't nothing
yeah.
wrong with that.
Mhm.
So what influenced that decision?
Something happened at 9/11. I felt the urge to serve. But
Okay.
I think for me, it was I wanted to do more. I wanted to join the Peace Corps.
Understood.
The Peace Corps was not accepting my major.
Mm.
And so I remember meeting a Jamaican recruiter in the Caribbean Connection.
Right.
We vibed. She invited me to her house. She cooked for me. And
As we did
got
for you
to meet
today.
her family.
Mhm.
And she was like, yeah, the military is like the Peace Corps.
Yeah.
You can sign here.
Yeah.
And I signed. 2 weeks off, I was in
That
boot
was
camp.
it.
Yeah.
Quick. And you didn't even know what you were doing.
I really didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of my family members that served until after I served. My
What?
grandfather served 1946. He died when I was young. I didn't get a chance to really
Okay.
bond with him. Prostate cancer, another
Mm.
cancer. But yeah,
So I can see why your life is your mission is centered around health.
yes.
For sure in that
Absolutely.
realm.
Mhm.
I know prostate cancer is something that many black men get diagnosed with. Not every one of us, but some. And so if you're out there and you're listening to us right now, guys, please go and get checked out. There's no such thing as pride being a black male. Prostate cancer is a real thing, and it can take you out if it's undetected. Early detection is something that defense, right? So go ahead and get that checked out today. We can provide those resources at another time, but Miss Anissa here more than likely can help with that more than I can.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that. Health is living. It's it used to say health is wealth,
Yes.
because you know the way that if you have a good life, you're living good, then you don't have nothing to worry about. I seen a joke. A guy said, "There's two things in life you got to worry about: being healthy or being sick.
Mm.
If you're healthy, you ain't got nothing to worry about. If you're sick, there's two things you got to worry about: whether you're gonna get better or whether you're gonna get worse."
Mm-hmm.
All right. And they said, if you get better, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you get worse, you got two things you need to worry about. Right. Then he
Mm-hmm.
says, that's living and dying. If you live, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you die, you got two things you got to worry
Right.
about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's whether you're going to heaven or hell. Because if you go to heaven, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you go to hell, you got two things you need to worry about. That's crispy or extra crispy. So it's a joke, man. It just that got me, and I'm glad I was able to get through that. But
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
listen, this food is here. Like I've been looking at, it, I've been smelling. I don't know about you. You know, when we came in here, it was just like, oh, it was radiant, right?
Smells so good.
Without further ado, Chef Buddy Love, what are you cooking up in that kitchen?
I made them with love. I have for you guys, I have the smoked braised oxtails. I paired that with rice and peas and a steamed cabbage. Made with love. And if you would like to get a taste of Buddy Love, book me through MobiChefOfficial.com.
Buddy Love, hey, thanks for that introduction to this delicious dish. We knew it was oxtail, just didn't know how you made it and what you did with it. So thank you so much, sir. All right, you ready to dig into this thing?
I'm
I've,
ready.
I've been waiting, so I just want to give it a shot. Let's see what we got here.
All right.
This look. What kind of effect you think this is gonna have? I see maybe some smacking. I see more smacking than crunch here. What do you think you're gonna get out of this?
Mm.
Let's see. mm,
Mm.
mm. God
That's
damn.
good.
Buddy love, buddy love, buddy love. Sir, sir, sir. You have
Mm-hmm.
outdone yourself again, man. I love a good oxtail. Oxtails are so expensive these days.
Mm.
Like I don't understand it. They used to be a good delicacy, something good to find, but now you can find them, but you just got to pay a top dollar for them. Get them
Mm-hmm.
smoked. How do you like your
I love the
oxtail?
crunch on that.
On the cabbage, right? I
Yes.
got to try that. I'm trying to get to this
So
oxtail
good.
first. And yes, I lick my fingers, guys. I'm sorry,
Mm.
but I gotta love it,
So flavorful.
and I do wash my hands.
Mm.
What? What are you tasting right now? What flavors? You said flavor. What are you tasting?
So good. Everything was
I
put
feel like
together
I
so
just
well.
bit a pepper. I did just bite a pepper.
You did?
Yeah, it's hot.
But it's
It's
not too hot.
it's
It's not
not
too
too hot.
spicy.
No.
It's
It just let me know it's there,
mm.
like a bug that lands on you, just and you just see it like it's just letting you know it's there. I hadn't done nothing yet,
Mm-hmm.
and then it takes off. But this kind of lingering a little bit. So what I'm gonna do here?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm a little thirsty,
Yes.
so we're gonna get a drink.
So creamy.
Miss Keziah, what do you got for us?
All right, so for you, Anissa, I know that you favor mocktails over cocktails, so I definitely got something special whipped up for you. We're gonna name this a prickle pink cocktail. Well, mocktail. All right, so we're gonna start with. Actually, I'm gonna use this one. We're gonna start with our syrup, which is some prickly pear, which is really good. Most people don't even like have never had that before. It's like I don't know. It's a little tangy, a little sweet. It's hard to explain. It's a unique fruit. It's definitely very unique. All right. And then we're gonna add some lemons. You could definitely use lemon juice, but I prefer actual lemons because I feel like it gives it a way better flavor. Oop, making a mess over here. A way better flavor profile than just lemon juice. You know, you got the pulp, you got the skin. It enhances it, as I should say. So we're gonna muddle that. Alrighty, and then we're gonna add some white grapefruit juice, well, white grape juice. All right. So now we got some ice, so we're gonna add all that together. shake it up. All right. So now I have my cute little glasses. Here we are. We're going to add that mixture to the cup. And I didn't fill it all the way up because we're going to add something else. We're not done yet. There we go. And then we're going to top that off with some Sprite. Alrighty. And there you have it, a prickly pink drink. I hope you enjoy.
Kezia, thank you for that wonderful introduction to this drink. I'm a bit thirsty because I think I bit a pepper in the oxtail or something. I see the red piece on my plate here, so I bit something. I'm just a little bit parched, but I want to try this drink out, see what you're really working with on these drinks. You ready? Cheers. All right. Hey, I don't think we need no straw, so we're just going to slurp on this thing.
All right.
What are you tasting? Give me some initial feedback on that.
I can taste the fresh lemon.
It's like almost a
really
lemonade-ish, but yeah, it's just you can
Yeah.
taste it. A little bitter, but sweet. Lemonade-ish, but that's like a made from scratch almost feel.
Absolutely.
Delicious drink. All right, so now tell me, what are you gonna name your drink?
I'm going to name it Pink Passion.
Pink Passion, ain't
Yeah.
that something? I think we have a passion now. That's the second passion name we've had. Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. It wasn't Pink Passion, but it is passion. So nonetheless, and I like that because passion in your sense applies to what you have a passion for. And the pink is synonymous to breast cancer, right? Obviously.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Pink Passion, guys. Anytime you see Miss Anissa, just say, hey, Pink Passion. All right. But good deal. So let's dive into some other, that's good. Some other questions here. I'm still enjoying that drink. It's refreshing. It's refreshing. But I want to get back into more of your military experience, if you don't mind going in that. So as a combat veteran, what meal reminds you the most of your deployment and why?
Which MRE?
The MRE.
It was like the macaroni mix of some kind
The
of
chili mac?
chili mac.
Oh my God.
I feel
Oh,
like I
man.
got that the most.
Yeah. I think they probably had a box just for chili mac MREs, man.
Yeah.
I remember that. Everybody should like fight over chili mac almost.
It was the most filling because you're hungry.
yeah,
You're coming
yeah.
off whatever training, you just needed something to fill you up.
Yeah, and it was
right?
chili mac. And
Chili
I think
Mac
it had
did
some maybe some Skittles in it or something like that. It was something else in that because I too love chili mac. I mean, you know, there were all kinds of other ones, but that one there, you got chili mac, you were kind of like the king of the hill. I can't even remember the box because there were certain, if you had a certain box or letter A or B, then you had the number, it was number box, this and that. But it distinguished, like you could tell, oh, this is the chili mac box. And you just kind of wait until it gets bust open. So chili mac is how you would describe your deployment.
Yeah.
So what was it like being overseas like that, in the desert? You're away from family and friends, and you know, of course, you're seeing devastation. But give me more of a lighter side of that, and give me a lighter version of your experience while on deployment.
Sure. I love really the camaraderie of veterans working together.
At that time, y'all weren't vets, were y'all?
Well,
Y'all
technically,
y'all
once you signed up to serve, you're a veteran.
That's true.
However,
True.
But you're right.
By definition. Yeah.
But yeah, all our military personnel are coming together to work on missions.
Yeah.
One peaceful mission I really remember, we donated scholastic books to an orphanage. And as soon as you walk into this orphanage, you see kids with missing fingers and limbs, and their families sold themselves to get into the war because they're impoverished. And what do you do in that environment? And you have your children helping you build IEDs, improvised explosive devices, right? And so it's traumatizing almost, but it's like, okay, we're trying to do something good here by educating, because there's power in education.
You know what I've always thought about was, all right, we got hit, 9/11 happened, right? And that was second time that I've known in U.S. history that our country was attacked on our U.S. soil. Pearl Harbor was the first one. I've seen the movie, I've read the stories, I've even talked to a few people that served in that before they passed away in that era. And it was all just devastating to hear that, hey, we have this so much pride, we'll never be attacked on our soil. They'll never come get us. And then it happens again in 2001 and it rocks the country again. So like you, I saw that that tragedy, if you want to call it that action, that terror, and I knew that something that was going to happen. I was like, oh, they done came and knocked on the devil's door and they about to get it. We're going to war. So I called myself one of the volunteer. I was a volunteer, so to speak. I thought a draft was coming. I thought a lot of things were happening. And sure enough, I said, you know what? I'm not a voluntold guy. I'd rather volunteer. So I was like, you know what? A month after 9/11, I was in the Marines. I signed up in the Marines that October of 2001, and I never looked back. You know, of course, there were times where I was like, did I make the right decision? Because you have that aha moment or that oh crap moment where it's like, maybe I can go back home. I need my mommy right now.
Nope.
And so, once you get it, though, it's like you've crossed that Rubicon. You're there. You're making it happen. But the reason I brought that up was because we're in these other countries and we go and devastate their governments, devastate their economies, and we devastate the people there and its citizens. And we're over there and we see these injured, children and families that have been, again, just demolished or destroyed because of our so to speak, our action or reaction to whatever, reason we were over there, whatever conflict caused us to be over there. And again, that's a moment. And I'm like, man, what would it feel like if people started doing that to the United States? It would be crazy over here. You're talking about leveling buildings, and we have skyscrapers and all this other stuff in these different countries and cities. Of course, America is probably the most weaponized country in the world, but nonetheless, it's just like I'm curious to think about that. I hope and pray it never happens,
Right.
But at the same token, it just I won't say it sucks, but it's just kind of humbling to be over there and see it. Brings tears to your eyes. Even here in the United States, just seeing those that are helpless or injured and can't, that even come back from war and haven't gotten any help or haven't even got a proper welcome home.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So hats off to those. If you haven't been welcome home and you're watching this show, I just want to salute to you. Welcome home. We love you, and no matter when you serve and how you serve, it's still appreciated and is valued because it helped people like me make a decision to go and serve others, and just again be a member and a value member to my community. So thank you for your service, and again, welcome home, guys. And those that are missing, we still looking for you. POWMIA. All right. So I want to go to a lighter side with things. Compare military life to civilian life, and how did the two? Where's the gray area in that for you now that you're a thriving citizen of the United States?
Great area. I'll say for me, I didn't know how to separate myself initially when I first returned. Yes, you take the uniform off, but it's a piece of you that's always there. And so it shows up in every room, in every event, in every conversation. And I had to learn how to code switch almost, because you have to, certain rooms, veterans aren't welcome. Certain rooms, certain identities that you identify with are not welcome. And learning how to bring one or the other to those rooms. And then I realized, why? Why do we have to? If I'm not accepted fully in any room, then maybe I shouldn't be in that room.
So you've had to kind of turn down opportunities in a sense to understand once you read the room or once you know what room you're stepping into, it kind of changes, one, how you respond to it and whether or not it gives you an opportunity actually to say yes or no,
Right.
and whether you want to be there or not.
Absolutely.
So give me a highlight of your military career outside of, being over there and getting the humbling moments. Give me a highlight in your military career. Oh, it must be a good one. It must be a good one.
There are some not so great ones.
I understand.
But
you can share those too. I mean, it's open forum.
There were a time, and this is almost embarrassing.
Okay.
For some of the stories that I have. But I was so grateful to be able to help make change
Mm-hmm.
in the military for so many things. And this goes back to even with um, some of our higher ranking officials who did things and kind of got passes, and our lower
Ain't that
ranking
something?
guys who did things that didn't get passes and
Mm-hmm.
lost their rank and lost benefits for their families and all the things. And so
Oh man,
my goal while I served was to help make change in that space. Equality across the board. You know,
I understand
if
that.
you did it and this person did it equally, you know, the cards are dealt fair chance for everybody. And so I laughed because I remember this high-ranking official coming into my office and asking for a character witness letter. And I did the same
They did
laugh
something
just
bad,
now.
right?
They did something bad. And I just really, you have the audacity to walk into my office.
You in my office?
In my office.
Ha ha ha.
And yeah, all the characters
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to come to me
Of course
there.
it
All the
does.
characters wanted to come to me
Because
there.
that's how you have to be. You have to be a character, entertain characters.
Man, and
Yeah.
I remember too, I took acting classes coming out of the military too, because it was like sometimes you had to be an actor almost,
Yeah, you
right, in
do.
those spaces.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got him kicked out, and it felt good
Yeah.
because it was finally changed was coming.
What did he do? If you can you share it? Oh, don't drop your fork, boy.
When there's a sexual
Okay. Yes.
incident from
Sharp.
molestation to rape, anything of that sort, I have a kind of no tolerance. Like my father is a huge advocate against that as well, right? And so yeah, I was like, wow, this man has the audacity.
So let
Come
me
to my
ask you
office.
something about that. Because
Yes.
I'm a male that served, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I served. I served in the United States Marine Corps from 2001 to 2009. I got out for like 8.5 years and decided to go back into the military because I wanted to serve again because I was around what we call old heads or vets.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, man, if I still had a body to serve, I'd serve. And I'm
Mm.
listening to these guys while they have coffee and things like that. And, they're like, yeah, I love to serve. You're still young, man. Why
Mm.
aren't you still serving? Why'd you get out? And I'm like, yeah, why did I get out? You want to know why?
Why?
2007, I was in the reserves and it was time for me to re-up,
Okay.
right? So I did a 6x2 contract. So 6 years from 0106, time to re-up, and I was ready to pick up my sergeant. This is in the Marine Corps. I was a corporal, E4 NCO. So I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I can, if I go and do what I got to do, we had MCI's Marine Corps Institute. If I do all my NCIs, all my education, I'll be able to get this meritorious promotion to sergeant, and then I can get a bonus because the Marine Corps does not give out bonuses, right? They were just, hey, it's what you can do for the Marine Corps, not what the Marine Corps can do for you. That mumbo jumbo,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean, I'm with that. I believe it wholeheartedly. It's about what you can do for the organization, not what the organization can do for you. Because if you do for the organization, you'll pull the value out of it, right,
Right.
from them. But nonetheless, it got to a point where I was ready for that, and I sat down with a supply sergeant because my unit, I think they were deployed at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in and I was like, yeah, I'm coming to get my bonus and I want my meritorious. I'm thinking I had negotiating power. This man tells me and looks me into the soles of my eyes and he says, you ain't getting both. You only getting one or the other. And I said, well, I'm taking neither. I'll take my checkout sheet. And that day I had my gear in the truck. Well, at that time it was a car, but I had my gear with me and I turned it in. And that was my Marine Corps career. Yep. And I never looked back, but I regretted it because I wasn't upset. I was just like, I did all of this stuff for the past year or two, and only to get told that, hey, I wasn't worthy of a bonus and my meritorious promotion, even though I earned both. They're like, we'll give you sergeant as soon as you sign up. I'm like, okay, but give me the bonus too. Can't do that. Okay, well, I'm out. So that's what happened there. But I got back in and I wanted to bring that full circle. Got back into the Army, and then all of a sudden I started hearing about something called SHARP. And, that's the sexual harassment and assault. I can't remember what the RP is. But nonetheless, it was a big thing because it was just sexual harassment. And it's like what I found out through discovery was that, and research on my own was like, hey, you can get in trouble for anything. You can blink 3 times at a woman and she says, I feel some kind of way about that. Or the person that's watching us have a conversation saw me blink or wink 3 times at you and they would say, oh my goodness, I feel uncomfortable and, do something about that. He should be in trouble. So to that point, I understand about protecting our women, right? I understand about women's rights and things like that. So how do you feel about women who lack the integrity in that and use it to their advantage?
Oh, I'm against it.
Yeah.
Integrity is everything.
Yeah.
And so I even supported our men who were raped in Iraq
Yeah.
as well, because it's no tolerance for anybody.
Okay. Were they
Yeah.
captured and raped, or was this like an aggressive female?
No, a man raping a man.
That happened over there?
That happened.
Get the heck out of here.
So
No
our
way.
men and
No way.
women,
No way.
our men and women
What?
were harassed, and this wasn't a blink. These were actual assaults that happened.
Like I'm just gonna get it, almost prison style or something like that.
We
Man,
had
that
a
is
lot
crazy.
of incidences.
I can't believe that.
Unfortunately.
Man, I can't believe the men that are in situations like that. Like, how do you even talk about that and try to talk about when you talk about, the valor and the honor and serving your country, and you have this like freaking black eye on the military because you can't tell your whole story.
Right.
That's crazy, man.
It is. It
Jeez.
is. So military sexual trauma, or MST, are men and women who served do get that as a claim now. And before there wasn't no such thing of that, 10 years, 20 years ago. And so for the men that I know personally and the women that served with me, before me, after me, I've been confident enough to share and confide in me their stories. And I keep them confidential.
Of
to
course.
this day.
Of course you should.
But there are men and women, unfortunately, who have been assaulted.
So how do they go about getting help in those scenarios? Like this, what man that if most men are prideful and they don't want to speak up about that because that's almost like Me Too-ish. Like it happened to me too.
Yeah.
And it's a movement, but those men that happened to, how do you encourage those men to speak up about that?
Whenever they share with me, it's really whatever they feel comfortable with. And so I wouldn't force anyone to speak about anything, but at least you're speaking about it to someone. Even if it's privately, that's okay. You need to get the help that you need because it all affects our mental health when we keep things in, and that causes dis-ease.
I get it.
Whether it shows up in our skin, internally, externally, if you're not releasing, whatever it is.
Understood.
And so I encourage them to at least just seek therapy. That's the first step. And if they choose to come in a public forum, that's their choice.
Right. Of course.
But,
of course.
At least if they're getting the
That's a
help
huge
they
step
need,
for
it's
something like that to really be able to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. So you talked about women's health and mental health. You touched on that, and I talked about my experience with, because I just wanted to know, because a lot of people were receiving false cases and sexual harassment, and a lot of women were using that for sakes of whether it's a claim or to say that they were traumatized for this XYZ. But certain reporting systems would say that, hey, you don't have to report this, or you don't have to make it a actionable report, so to speak. Like if you just want to report it and you don't want any further action from it, then you don't have to have your name involved. There's a certain type of way you can maintain anonymity without giving a name. You don't have to give the person's name. You can just say, hey, I was assaulted at this date and this time. And they have to treat it as if it were a real incident, because there's no way to disprove it, or only thing they can do is investigate it. And that's what they do. So I've seen that in action. I've heard some horror stories that I just care not to share about. And it almost made me want to be an advocate, a sharp advocate, because I saw so much of those things. The part that got me the most was more so about how somebody else outsider, if I'm having a conversation with, just banter with my buddies or something like that, and we talking about the good old Army days, we talking about like we're just men having conversation, or even women having conversation, but men having conversation, and all of a sudden that conversation be picked up by a woman who just passed by, and she felt some kind of way about hearing the conversation. Yes, we probably shouldn't be talking like that. And I'm not going to say I come from the old school, but I came up when, and that kind of banter was accepted. And to see the change and having to adapt to it, I was like, okay, well, you got to adjust. And you want to treat every weapon as if it were loaded, like it's a real situation. But in those instances, it became a little bit taxing, like, where it was just a lot more of it. You started hearing about
Of
it,
course.
and all of it gets investigated. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, the impact of it, though, whether it
Mhm.
happens or whether it didn't, the mental health. So, what do you do with your organization that allows people to tap into that you can help them? I'm sorry, with mental health and even women's health on that side, because I know it's two different
Right. No, absolutely. So we do a lot of prevention
categories.
education in the community. We do workshops on healthy eating,
Okay.
cancer fighting foods to arm the body,
Okay.
especially if you have a high risk or family history,
Right.
genetic.
Mm-hmm.
We also make sure that our families, who are diagnosed have access
Okay.
to mental health.
Okay.
And so we have licensed therapists in Georgia, California, Tennessee, and I'm missing a state, but in the southeast region in California,
Y'all out
one
there
on the
though.
west side.
Understood.
Just to make sure, and we want to expand those services. We just signed a new mental health partner
Okay.
this year to expand the services so that folks all across the nation can have access
I get that.
if they need it while they're in treatments, but also for their family members, because when someone's diagnosed with cancer, it affects the whole family.
Understood. This cabbage hot. This cabbage hot.
It's delicious.
It's delicious, but it's hot.
I see the red pepper.
And I keep biting on it.
No, but because it's so good.
Yeah, it's like, man,
The spice
I just
is not really your thing.
I do like spice, but
Not too much.
I don't like the after effect of spice. You know what I'm saying? Like initially, oh, that's flavorful, that's good, but when it kicks in, it's like a delayed reaction, and it just messes me up, man.
Gotcha.
I didn't mean to pivot into that. I'm so sorry.
That's
But
okay.
it just got me. I needed a drink.
Yeah.
So you launched the nonprofit. Tell me about the roadmap to launching that nonprofit.
As I take a bite.
Yeah, as you take a
Because it's
bite,
so
you
good,
got to
you can't
talk. This
resist.
is the mukbang. You got to take a bite. You got to eat,
Absolutely.
and you got to answer questions.
All right.
Yeah.
So when I got out of the military, well, I'll start here. In my second deployment in Iraq, I saw a mirage of my dear mother. And we're in the desert, right? You see things sometimes. And so this mirage hit different because I'm seeing my mom who just died. And when I see her, I'm like, okay, God, you're giving me something. What is this? Am I supposed to help women fighting cancer? Am I supposed to help women in Iraq fighting cancer? What's the thing here?
Understand.
As soon as I exit the military, I'm doing research where the need is. And so between Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama had the highest mortality rates of breast cancer for Black women. In the Caribbean, it was Bahamian women in the Bahamas. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm not from Bahamas. Doesn't make sense to go back there. I have a little bit of footprint in Georgia. Georgia it is.
Okay.
And so I Will Survive Inc. was born. We've been serving the community for 14 years now.
Okay. So with that, I'm assuming is the breast cancer, is that hereditary? Does that run in the family for you, or is it?
Great question. My mom was adopted. And so we don't know family history. But I will tell you that I took the BRCA gene or the breast cancer gene test. Genetic counseling, background testing, which the panels have changed over the years. The first time I took it was 2014, and then I took it again in 2022.
Okay.
And so there were new panels in the genetic testing to see if I carry the BRCA gene. BRCA1 or BRCA2
Gotcha.
does increase your family risk of getting breast cancer and cervical cancer. And then for all cancers, sometimes even prostate, right? The hormonal ones.
Why you pointing at me when you said prostate?
Hormonal.
Sorry, prostate
Men and
cancer.
women. No,
I'm messing with you.
no.
I'm just messing with you.
I don't wish it on anyone.
Right.
Any cancer.
Yeah, don't put that on Ricky
No,
Bobby.
I don't want to put it on anybody.
Right.
Cancer is horrible. One of my greatest mentors, Mr. Thomas W. George Jr., just died of pancreatic cancer. It's a more aggressive type of cancer.
You posted about that, I think.
Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah.
It was his birthday recently. And so his birthday and my mother's birthday is in April. So April's a tough
Pisces?
month. Aries.
Aries, there it is. Aries. Okay. Yeah, I try to skip over that month a little bit.
Why is that?
Because I ain't talking about that on the air right now.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Another conversation, another drink later.
Got
I
it.
need
All
I need a
right.
more stiff drink. April just ain't it, and it ain't Texas.
Well, so good things about April is it's National Minority Health Month.
National Minority Health Month.
And it's Stress Awareness Month.
Okay.
And something that's super amazing is it's National Jazz Appreciation
I
Month.
think that should be every month. All of that stuff should be like every
I
month.
agree.
It should be like every day.
Yeah.
Like, are you doing this? It should be a checklist that you got to go
release stress
before it
today?
started. Yeah. Like, I get that. So, all right. So let's just segue to like business, right?
Sure.
Because you launched the business. It's a nonprofit. It's still a business. and you're highly successful at it, right? All right. So, have you ever seen like, and I just a more food related question, but have you ever seen food positively transform someone's morale and productivity? And
Oh, yes.
how did that work? Give me a
I
second.
have a beautiful story for you.
Oh, I love beautiful.
This young lady was maybe 34 when she was diagnosed, single mom. Her son was 7 years old, and she's in treatment at Northside Hospital. And so reaches out to us and said, "Hey, can somebody bring me a meal?
What?
A meal.
A meal. Somebody was
I'm tired of
hungry.
this hospital food. This is
Okay.
garbage.
Okay.
This is, I need
Did they
something
call
that's going to
MobiChef?
nourish." We wish we knew about MobiChef at the time,
It's all good.
but we didn't.
We're gonna change that.
And so we went to Whole
We're changing
Foods.
that.
We need to change that, but we went to Whole Foods to get her a whole meal,
Mm-hmm.
right, for the whole body, and got her some good things. And she was baked salmon and some other things. I don't remember exactly. But she just was like, "Oh my God,
Oh
thank you,
Lord Jesus.
thank you for this meal.
Yeah.
This nourishes my body. This is just what I needed."
Is that what she prayed, or that's what she thanked you guys for
She
that?
thanked us for that.
Ain't that something?
It was a simple
An
meal,
open prayer.
an
I
open
love
prayer. Yeah, it was beautiful.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, when starting a business, do you think people need help? What do they need, like out of the gate? What kind of characteristics, what kind of traits do they need to have within themselves in order to really get started in business?
I think inspiration. I mean, if you don't even have something that's going to wake you up out of bed in the morning to
Right.
complete whatever the plans are, the goals are for that business, then it's not going to thrive.
I understand that.
Because you can't be perfect at everything, right? If you
Right.
do a SWOT analysis on yourself or a SWOT analysis on your business, looking
Yeah.
at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats, then you can ensure, okay, I suck at this. I
Yeah.
need some experts in this area to help make my
Got
business
you.
thrive.
Okay. Speaking of help, I'm glad you said that.
Yes.
What books, if any, would you recommend that someone in business from a help or a self-help standpoint, what would you recommend or think somebody should read like right out the gate?
Oh, there's so many.
There are. There really are. There really
There's
are.
so many.
Just give me one.
I'll give you one. John Maxwell, Great Leaders Ask Great Questions.
Mm.
And one of my favorites.
Am I asking great
because
questions?
You're asking great questions.
Message. It's called a clue. But continue. I'm sorry.
No, it's really great because how do you learn if you don't ask questions?
Right.
You know, and so there's so many business owners or entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
solopreneurs that don't move to the next space because they're not asking the right questions to grow.
You know, it's crazy. John C. Maxwell has written quite a few books.
Mm-hmm.
One I've read is A Leader's Heart. The other one is 48 Laws of Power.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember this other one that I have. But the book that pops up in my head, and it's not John C. Maxwell, is As a Man Thinketh as well. And it's just there. But I've read so many different things. I'm not the most polished person in the world. I'm not the best or greatest leader. But I do love being able to pull life lessons and philosophies from books. Whether it allows me to help someone else or give them my insight, 9 times out of 10, ain't nobody listening to Chester. Because I talk about it so much and I move in what I talk. I don't just say I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. There was a time I did. I was a talker. You know, some people would like to say I have the gift of gab with certain things, and I had to own that, right? Because some people could say that, you know, in a respectful way or, you know, as an adjective and give you praise for it, you know, but others people can say that to demean you. Or to say that, oh yeah, you got to gift the gab, blah, blah, blah. Like it's a bad thing, almost like some pimp stuff or something crazy, you know? Just downright disrespectful. That's all I want to say to that.
Yeah.
So, but I have owned that. I realized that because I was in sales and I had to figure out and be quick on my feet to be able to respond and help people get what I thought that they needed at the time, not what they really needed. And so I got to take a sip.
So good.
Yeah, that's so good. That's a refreshing drink. I need that on a hot summer day by a pool somewhere. Maybe not in this glass. Maybe not with this straw. I put it in something smaller, but
Yeah.
probably put it in a pitcher and just drink it. And then jump in the pool afterwards. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, you know, books, right? Getting your mindset right for business. Something that motivated me was something I read in a book of having a burning white hot desire to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! I need to get that up. All right, another drink.
So
I'm better
refreshing.
now.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, when you talk too much and you have the gift of gab, that's what usually happens. Is your throat dries out or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. I'm gonna pop my little mint. I got it sitting over here
I
because I
was
need it.
wondering what that was.
It's called a lifesaver. You know what it is?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's about to save my life
Got
right
it.
now. You
Good.
understand? Lifesavers. Um, so books, right? And getting back into that again, I've read so like a lot of books. Probably didn't finish a lot of them either, but for the ones that I did read, ooh, it's still getting me. Jesus. So man, hey, choking is a real thing, obviously. But when we're getting back into books, John C. Maxwell has written a lot of them, and he has a leadership course or a speaking course. Somebody actually
Mm-hmm.
mentioned to me that, hey, I should sign up for it again. That was praising my gift of gab. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? I thought about it. But then they said it was $5,000 to do. And I was like, yeah, I can find a million other things I could do with $5,000 in my life instead of wanting to become a speaker. Which, hey, by all means, it's cool. I would love to be in that club of speaking and getting paid to talk to people. But sometimes I can run my mouth for free too. So, I'd rather do that for now. But one day I'll set the stage and the stage will be set where I'll be able to speak to people and they actually want to hear and receive what I have to say. Right now, I'm just biding my time, doing what I got to do, but working toward that short, choppy steps. So you're out of your books. What do you think about the Bible?
I think the Bible is one of the greatest books. I think it's a foundation for anybody when you're in a dark space, when you're in a good space,
Mm-hmm.
when you need some guidance, when you need to talk to
Yeah,
somebody.
I've heard some things. If somebody said it as basic instructions before leaving Earth, right? I
I
was
love
like,
that.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds cool. And
Yeah.
I said, you know what? It is the greatest. I was just telling somebody, I had a conversation the other day where the Bible is the greatest collection of stories
Mm-hmm.
ever told.
Mm-hmm.
And they're translated, because of course there has to be the original stories. And it gets, hey, I want to tell this part of the story. I want to tell that part of the story. And we know that by if I told you something, then you told that person. By the time it got to the other person, it would not be the same story told.
Right.
That's how I believe will happen to the Bible
Yeah.
and why we are here now. So, I'm gonna get past that. But we talked about your nonprofit. Congrats on that. I Will Survive Inc. All right. Be sure, guys, to visit iwillsurviveinc.org. That's another plug for her. But let's get into the community side of the nonprofit. All right. So one of the questions I wanted to ask is, how can communities better use food and dining to foster connections among veterans and civilians? How do you think we can do that?
There's so many ways. I
Okay.
mean, I used to be a part of an experience called civic dinners,
Okay.
where if you were in love with a particular topic,
Hmm.
you can go meet at a particular restaurant and break bread,
Yeah.
have conversations.
Funny story. Funny thing, not even a story, but breaking bread. That was one of the things in philanthropic ideas that I had for the city of Atlanta.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd love to break bread with them, literally and figuratively. Uh, Part of what I wanted to do from a philanthropic standpoint was feed their unhoused in a way that they have these three like shelter sites. So those that are unhoused, they
Mm-hmm.
put them in those shelter sites. I wanted to be able to find a way for MobiChef to be able to feed them, um, maybe on a monthly basis. But it's breaking bread. That was a title series.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're anybody that works for the city of Atlanta, if you're watching this right now, hey, we'd love to work with you. And this is my campaign speech to garner that support for that. But nonetheless, getting right into it and getting back to it. Um, so going into community, how has, outside of the outreach that you've done, how has your community or how has your nonprofit supported your local community?
Several ways. I
Mhm.
mean, from health fairs to
Okay.
providing access to screenings.
Okay.
A lot of education there. We get asked what age to start screenings.
Okay.
If there's family history, we talked a little about genetic testing.
Right.
And so that's a huge piece there. And then the other piece is in housing, actually, when you're talking about people who are unhoused.
Yeah.
We'll get applications or phone calls from families who are fighting cancer and need housing.
Is it just veterans, or is it just, are you working with just anybody?
Veterans and non-veteran families, and so it's open
Okay.
to everybody. And a lot of the families that, unfortunately, if you can imagine, someone in the household is diagnosed, you go from two head of household incomes to one, and sometimes zero. If there are two head of households there.
Right.
But if one person who is impacted with breast cancer or any type of cancer loses their job, FMLA is out or running out, you lose your job at that moment, how do you have health insurance to cover treatments?
I get that.
And so we have families sometimes calling us from shelters or hotels. And
Wow.
right, and so we have to do really emergency situation movements, which in the military taught us, how to stay calm in tough situations.
Right, of course.
Right?
Adapt
And
and
so
overcome all the good stuff.
all of it, right? And so you can't stress out. I remember training some of our team initially in the first 5 years of the kind of situations we might be in and how to maneuver around them.
Yeah.
Phone calls from cancer came back, or the cancer is spreading and it's now stage 4, it's just from stage 3,
Okay.
or metastasized to other regions of the body or spread to other regions of the body. And so those are always interesting conversations. We had a PA, physician's assistant, on our team at the time, and she was completely emotional.
Okay.
When a survivor was trying to share, and so they can have a moment.
Right.
And so we have to train our team on how they need to hold it together so that our survivors and our clients get all the attention that they need in that time, so they can really be their authentic selves as we're being our authentic selves, and really can help them solve whatever problems they have, because it's not just the cancer sometimes. It's also food insecurity.
Right.
Or only have access to a food pantry that only provides canned goods, and it might be high in sodium and high in all types of different things that your body doesn't need,
Right.
especially when you're fighting something like a cancer.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I worked at a couple of shelters during COVID, and more food banks and warehouses, and to see like the way food is not necessarily processed but brought in and donated. You go and look at the stuff, and it's like you're sitting here, it's like it's just food. It's not. It could be processed goods. It could be all kinds of different things, but most of it is unhealthy. It's like you're giving it to people, and it's like, man, these people have to eat this stuff, but if they have any ailments or any illnesses, they're going to get worse, and it's not going to help them.
Absolutely.
And so, I've been looking at, when I go to shopping now for groceries, I just go look at the backs of boxes and cans and bags, and I'm like, somebody told me the less ingredients, the better it is for you, or healthier it is.
Yeah.
And so I just look at those things now, and I'll say, no, put it back. Noodles, I won't touch my body. The ramen noodles won't touch my body unless it's a good ramen noodle. I see it made, fresh in my face, that type thing. But that packaged stuff that I used to eat in college and make shrimp and noodles with, and all kind of concoctions and stuff, thinking I was fancy, right? Throwing a little seafood and dropping a little fish in there, right? Maybe a little steak,
Right.
Yeah, that's over with.
Good.
So, all right. I've asked you all about, we talked about your nonprofit, we talked about how you got there. But what I want to talk about is how people can reach you. How can someone reach you if they're looking to get in contact with you or your organization to, one, give you ideas on anything, or two, partner with you?
For me, directly, LinkedIn is my go-to.
Okay.
For anything organization related. It's our website, iwillsurviveinc.org. We have different sessions in the community with our board. We have currently 7 board members.
Okay.
And so even coming and attending to any of our quarterly board meetings, it's always open, and the public is welcome to come in and say, hey, I saw an incident where your organization could partner with. And so we'll get people who come and share those resources. If there's any opportunity for partnerships, we're always growing in partnerships because we're serving all across the Atlanta region. We were serving nationwide. We did have to scale back with the pandemic. But yeah, that's the best way.
Okay. All right. So I have one big question for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Does salt go on grits or sugar?
You know what's so great? I didn't know what grits was really until I moved to the mainland.
Okay.
And I had through the server line in the military, and I got plop. And I was like, what is this? And someone handed me a little salt packet that they had, and it made it taste so much better.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful. And so I'll say salt.
Salt.
Yes.
Oh man, outstanding. Hey, you good with me?
All right.
I appreciate that. Right.
Yeah.
So now what I want to do is something that I do now. I just have my guests take a big bite of food, and I got 4 questions to ask you, and we're gonna
All right.
rapid fire. Just don't spit on me.
Okay, I'll do my best.
All right.
Let me get a good piece.
Oh yeah, you got to get a good piece. You get cabbage, you get whatever. Just fill your mouth up food.
Ah.
Oh, now you got to go more than that. You trying to eat now. You trying to eat. I need the smacking. I need all of that. This is your big bite right here.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, coffee or tea?
Tea.
Morning or night?
Morning.
Land or sea?
Sea.
All right. That's all I got. I ain't have nothing else. I just wanted to hear and make sure you smacked on some food. Hey, thank you for coming. Thank you for sitting down with us. But unfortunately, your time here at the MobiChef Mukbang is up.
It's been a pleasure.
All right?
Thank
No
you.
problem. You have a good one.
You as well.
All right. Hungry for a meal like this and an experience like this? Book one of our chefs today at MobiChefOfficial.com. MobiChef brings the flavor, and all you have to do is get started. So visit our website today, and thanks for watching and listening.